Hi there, welcome back to Qualicare Family Home Care, Edmonton East, Sherwood Park, and Fort Saskatchewan. I got it. All right. So today I'm here, of course, with Teresa Craig. She is the franchisee owner of the Qualicare franchise in Fort Saskatchewan, East Edmonton area. And today we're going to be talking about elderly malnutrition.
Yes.
I'm sure it happens a lot, and you're going to share with us all the great information about that. But first, I'm going to share a quote from Tia Walker. To care for those who once cared for us is one of the highest honors.
Yes.
So true.
Very true.
Yeah,
very true.
And I have a fact. I think it's from Stats Canada. No, it's from CTV News. Around a third of seniors living at home are at risk of not getting adequate nutrition, which could lead to a number of health problems. Now, the authors say that identifying such seniors is key to helping them avoid falls, hospitalization, institutionalization, and even death. So, I think food is important. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about that.
So malnutrition is something that happens all over the world, is what we see on TV. But here in our backyard, it happens to the elderly who are very vulnerable. As we get older, our bodies require fewer calories, but we need more protein, calcium, B vitamins, and other types of nutrients as well. Weight loss is a very obvious sign, of course, of malnutrition. But lack of energy, getting sick often, bruised or dry cracked skin, those are some of the signs of malnutrition in the elderly. And wounds that are slow to heal. Oftentimes their skin is very fragile. As we get older, it loses its strength and gets quite fragile. So you might notice extra bruising or sores on their skin, and they're very slow to heal too. And memory issues, confusion. In the people with dementia particularly, the dementia might even seem worse, and they're more confused.
Right.
So those are all physical signs. But also too, if you have a peek in their fridge, what do their fridges look like? Oftentimes the elderly don't have people to shop for them, or don't get out of the house or the apartment that they live in. So their fridge might be pretty bare. So there is an obvious sign that they're not getting enough to eat. Check their cupboards, see if they've got that available to them. A lot of them don't cook either. So they're relying on things that are fast and quick, which oftentimes don't really offer a lot of nutrition to them. So those are signs of early malnutrition.
Okay. Now, why is it important to watch out for these things?
Well, as we get older, the risks increase. So advancing age may bring diet-related challenges. Those are things that are there. Among seniors, their appetites also decrease too, so they don't really want to eat. But it's important to have those small meals or frequent snacks with the meals as well, just to keep their nutrition up.
Right.
Especially nutrition with extra protein in it. So protein shakes or, lean meats and cheeses, that type of thing. But also their taste sensation also diminishes. So a lot of times they can't really taste their food that great. So try and get them things they like to eat and fix those up for them, and add that nutrition in there with the protein, and it should help.
Okay. Now, what are some other things that might hinder people from eating properly, getting a good diet, getting that protein in and vegetables? Like, what are some other things?
One of the biggest things I noticed is oral health. So people with dental cavities or even an abscess back there, a lot of times it causes a great deal of pain in most of us, but in the elderly now, also the people with dementia, they don't notice it. It's something that, I know for my mother, and I'll just use her as an example, she had an abscess in her mouth, and it had been there for quite a while. and she wasn't really eating. Her appetite went down, and we couldn't figure it out, but we decided we're going to take her in to get her teeth checked just to make sure, because she really prided herself on her teeth. And when they got in there, they couldn't believe the amount of decay and the lack of pain that she didn't have. And that was really what was causing her inability to actually eat.
Okay.
And actually, once she got the tooth out, she said, "Boy, that feels a lot better." So things changed a little bit for her. She does have dementia, so she never voiced anything, because we often would ask her, "Now, does your mouth hurt? Like, are you having trouble eating?" And she'd say, "No, I'm fine. Yeah, no, I'm fine." And that was the dementia. So yeah, it was too bad.
Isn't that something?
Yep.
Wow. Yeah, and I work with some dentists, and people with like appliances or any like dentures or anything like that, your bite strength goes down by up to 80%. You lose that strength. So even eating high protein foods would be very difficult to do. Very challenging. So and protein shakes are awful. But if they don't taste it, maybe it's okay. Got to get the water in anyway. Learn from our last video.
Homemade shakes, and there's recipes all over the place for homemade protein shakes, and they've got some great recipes out there using, fresh fruit and yogurt and that type of thing. So that might appeal to them. Give it a shot. Anything's worth a try. People that have lost a spouse or are by themselves, moving has changed. Maybe somebody's moved out of the home, say a grandson or a relative of some sort that's moved out of the home, and now the elderly person is left by themselves. So depression can set in too, and that causes a lack of appetite. They don't want to eat. They get lonely. They don't want to eat. So that's also important to assess as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what are some of the other ways that the malnutrition comes about? What are some other contributing factors to that? Maybe you can share a little bit about that.
Well, their nutritional needs change as compared to the younger adults. Also, they take more medication and have higher rates of chronic illnesses. Add that to the changing taste buds, lack of appetite, loss of spouse, depression, whatever they may be going through, and having even to cook now that the family is gone. Those things happen, and then lack of appetite happens, and then of course malnutrition can rapidly take over the elderly person's body. So important to get a handle on that before those things get out of hand. Also due to mobility issues. They might have trouble getting to the fridge and getting themselves something to eat. This is where care comes in, because, family members, ordering Meals on Wheels or Heart to Home is another company out there that does that. That might increase their nutritional intake and help them out a lot. No one is around to monitor them, so it's important too to know that what they've eaten, how much they've eaten, and to get a handle on that as well.
So Teresa, tell me, how can Qualicare help these families out, make sure that their elder people have proper nutrition?
Well, it's important that when we do our in-home assessment, we find out how much they're eating, what kinds of food they like, when they like to eat it. That's important. You want to maintain that control for them. They still want to decide what they eat and when they eat it. Also too, meal prep is really important. A lot of times with the government funded programs, you will see that they don't come in to do any type of meal prep. They'll come and make a piece of toast, a cup of coffee for them, but that's pretty much it. We take the time to actually prepare the meal. As long as the family is aware, do the shopping, we'll go in there and we'll cook it up for them so that it's ready for whatever meal they want it to be at. Also too, we take the time to sit down with them, and they can enjoy their meal more. It really helps to have someone with you when you're eating. There's also companies like Meals on Wheels, Heart to Home. Those are wonderful companies that provide these nutritious meals for them. So they are getting their meals. However, it's important to monitor how much they're eating, to maintain that, so that you know, we don't get stuck in the malnutrition cycle.
Right, because that would be very detrimental to your health, not getting enough nutrition, not getting enough water. Then we discussed earlier in another video about the increase in medications and all those things that maybe you lose your appetite because of the medication, right? So all these things fighting against you, but we've got to force feed them and get water and food in them. So now, what would a care plan include?
So a care plan would include the meals, of course, when they're going to happen, what's to be made. A lot of times people like to eat on a daily basis the same thing over and over again, but that's okay if they love it. That's okay. Also too, we assess the types of medications they're taking so that it doesn't really interfere with their meals.
Okay.
Sometimes you'll have a particular medication that causes someone to lose their appetite or actually feel sick to their stomach. Well, you don't want to give them a big meal during that time.
No.
So the bigger meal would follow a number of hours later, whether that's lunch or supper. So it's important to assess those medications as well. Keep an eye on those.
Okay, now, when do you come into the home? Are you restricted to 9 to 5, or what are your hours like?
Well, we're 24/7. We will come and take care of your loved one whenever you need us to do that. We provide in-home consultations free of charge and under no obligation. We will come in and just chat with you and give you some information if that's all you want. It's important to know that, and don't be afraid to give us a call because, like I say, we're free of charge, there's no obligation, and we're here to help.
Now, say someone is needing help with their, elderly parents or grandparents. What can they do to get started?
Just give us a call, 780-328-6655, or go to our website, qualicare.com /Edmonton-East. And you can get right to my website and even write me an email. And once I see it, I will give you a call. So, and I don't hesitate. If you don't want to talk to me, that's fine. But we're there to help you.
Excellent. So that's all we have for this one. It's been really informative. Thank you so much for sharing that information about elderly malnutrition.
Yep.
And it's very important for us to be aware of these things. There's a lot of things that I didn't quite know about. I learn something every time that we sit down and do these interviews. So thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
And if you guys are looking for home care for yourselves, for your loved ones, anybody who needs a little bit of extra help, maybe you had a surgery, maybe you can't get around as easily and you need a little extra help, call Teresa. She'll be more than happy to help you out. And we'll see you guys on the next video.
You bet. See ya.